This is the story of how we decided to travel across Europe to finish building our campervan in Bulgaria. And here's why. A week ago, we were in Bulgaria and talking about the possibility of us moving there. We also had plans of finishing our campervan conversion before summer so that we can travel around Europe during the warmer months. But with the weather in England, it was impossible to get any work done on it, and we were starting to lose patience. My boyfriend had the crazy idea of us traveling with the van to Bulgaria and finishing the conversion over there. It took us a week to get everything sorted, find an accommodation, pack our stuff, pass MOT on the van, buy everything that we needed for the conversion, and get everything else in order before leaving. And here we are today, driving across Europe on a crazy whim. We set off from Manchester at about 6 a.m. and drove down to Dover, where we took the ferry to Calais. Our plan was to drive through France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Serbia to get to Bulgaria. After getting off the ferry, we crossed half of those countries and reached Germany before getting too tired to drive. We were almost at the border with Austria when we stopped to sleep. Luckily, the bed frame for the camper was already built, so we were able to get a good night's rest. On the next day, we quickly crossed over the Danube, past Vienna, and headed down to Hungary. After an hour wait to cross the Hungarian border, we were finally in Serbia. I'd never heard much about Serbia before, but the views there took my breath away. I was reminded of why I was so eager to travel across Europe. For the most part of our journey, we just saw a dull motorway, but at times we also got glimpses of the beautiful parts of a country. We crossed the Serbian and Bulgarian border at about 9 p.m, and by 11 p.m. we were in Plovdiv. If you've never heard of Plovdiv before, it is the second largest city in Bulgaria. The city is famous for its Roman ruins, its old town, and its hills. Plovdiv is where my boyfriend's mum lives. That's why we decided to stay closer to this city. We slept at her place on the night that we arrived, and on the next day we went to pick up the keys to our house for the next 2 months. The house is located in a small village just 10 minutes away from the city. We wanted to get a big house with a garden where we would have enough space to work on the van, and this is the best place that we managed to find on Airbnb. Given that we usually live in Manchester, where the amount of light, space, and access to nature are limited, staying in this place felt like a breath of fresh air, like we finally had room to breathe. After a couple of days of settling in, Bulgarian Easter came, and we went to spend the holidays with my boyfriend's family. In Bulgaria, it's a tradition to boil eggs and then dye them for Easter. At the table, we play a game where each person picks an egg and tries to crack everyone else's egg with their one. I'm not quite sure why we do this, but it's just one of those things that everyone has fun with. To me though, the best part is getting creative and dyeing the eggs in funky colors and patterns. Once the holidays were over, I felt so exhausted, probably just from the lack of a routine. Ever since we'd arrived, we hadn't stopped for a single moment, and I was looking forward to the quieter times when we could just focus on working on the van. We had actually started working on the van last summer, which is why it's got some bits already finished. We've already put in the insulation, the bed frame, seating benches, and shower structures. The first thing that we chose to do was install our boiler and space heater, which would heat up our water as well as the van when needed. The boiler works both on electric and gas, but we've decided to only do the plumbing and electric ourselves and hire someone else to hook up the gas for us. And here is what it looks like so far. We still need to run the ducting for the heating vents and get the gas installed, but we will do that at a later point. After we did everything that we could on the boiler, we worked on lining the cab overhead piece with carpet. We are planning to build a headliner shelf for storage, and we felt that lining everything with a fresh black carpet would look so much better. Here's what it looked like after we were done. Stay tuned to see us building the storage space in a future episode. Next on our to-do list was the electric system. We had already installed our solar panels up on the roof last year, and now we needed to hook up the entire system that will control the power in our van. Now, although I do love the warmer weather, the blooming wildflowers, the forest trees and all that, there's just one thing that I cannot deal with, and that is bugs. Seriously, I have a phobia, especially from big colibri-sized flying beetles. We're living in a wilder spot up in the mountain, and some of these bugs I've never even seen before. They say that you have to learn to love it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But bugs, I am just trying to learn how to tolerate. Anyway, now back to the electrics. We had spent a long time planning this, but once we knew what we were doing, it only took us a couple of days to get everything in place and working. I won't go into too much detail on the whole electrical setup right now, but for all the geeks out there, here is a breakdown of what we're installing. We are building a fully off-grid system, which means that we will be able to collect and store all the power that we could ever need without being plugged in at a campsite at any point. The This was one of the tasks of the van build that we dreaded the most, and we felt so pleased when we finally got power through our solar and our batteries were charging. It's now the middle of May. Although some days are sunny and warm, we also have had a few rainy days where no work could be done. We're starting to get comfortable in our routine. Wake up, do some work on the computer, work out, build the van, eat, sleep, repeat. Honestly though, I always struggle to keep a routine. I'm not one of those people that can get up at 5 a.m. to get stuff done. I always wonder if people actually do that or if it's just a false pretense of a healthy girl ideal that we're all trying to live up to. I do love self-development books, going to yoga, making food that makes me feel good. But I only do that because I enjoy it, not because I want to accomplish anything through it. My boyfriend and I live such dynamic lives where we're constantly moving, traveling somewhere, starting new businesses, and it's very difficult to find stillness in such chaos. Even if I was to come up with a routine, I couldn't keep it for more than a month. In fact, sometimes I feel like I'm drowning when I get stuck in the same pattern of behavior every day. I tend to prefer the chaos. It's what keeps my life exciting and interesting, and I wouldn't trade it for a repetitive and predictable one. So here's my version of a healthy girl lifestyle, where I choose to do whatever I feel like every day without trying to fulfill any expectations. Our next task on the van was to finish the shower. We'd already waterproofed the walls and ceiling, and we now needed to install the PVC cladding. Now don't worry, the walls won't stay blue, that's just the protective film on the cladding which will later peel off. We chose to add a marble accent wall to the back of the shower and the ceiling, and this is how we've installed it. Now it's time to seal all the gaps in the shower. Now that we're finished with the inside of the shower room, we need to close it with a cover piece and a shower door. We started by cutting the piece that will go at the front of the shower in the shape that we wanted it to be, and we chose to cut an arch at the top. And now it's time to waterproof it. We then cut the PVC cladding in the exact same shape and we joined it to that front piece of the shower. We then screwed that last piece in place and sealed the gaps. And then it was finally time to fit the shower door. I had dreaded this, as I thought it would be very difficult to cut the door to size and make it fit inside the shower, but it was actually pretty straightforward. I've noticed this in myself and those around me. We all catastrophize or worry about not being able to handle a task sometimes, but after we start doing it, it turns out better than we thought. We always find a way to make it work. We're more capable than we believe ourselves to be. So if you ever feel unable to do something, I encourage you to just try, instead of overthinking or expecting the worst out of any situation. And here it is, the door is installed and we're finally done with the shower, except for the plumbing, which we will get to in a later episode. Thank you so much for spending this time of your day with me. I hope that you enjoyed watching this small chapter of our lives, and stay tuned for the next episode.